Hello and welcome to Impacted episode 19. Unfortunately, the Bison's away, so the Joker and the man simply known as Steve will be here to play. How are you today, Steve?
We're good this end, thanks, man. Hope everyone out there is still keeping well, and yourself.
I'm very good, thank you. Just like to remind everyone, we're coming at you via Total Nonstop Impact. So head over there to their channel, smash the bell, subscribe, check out all their content for some of the best stuff on YouTube, and we're also available on all podcast platforms, SoundCloud, iTunes, etc. The details will be given at the end as well, obviously. And we're going to go through very briefly news and reviews of stuff this past couple of weeks explosion, because there was some interesting stuff happened there, and then a brief covering of Tuesday night before we go on to predict everything for No Surrender, because we've got a hell of a stacked card, haven't we, Steve?
Yeah, we've had a lot been added last week, haven't we? Onto what was already a packed show.
Yeah, it was very, very unpredictable. I did not expect this much as a talking point for the two of us to go. Okay, we'll get started. Impact Wrestling's tapings started from the 9th to the 13th of April. So they started the night that it aired this week, which is usually quite unusual. It was a bit of breaking news. They tend to go about a week or two after the Impact Plus specials or so, or from what I gather. So it was a pretty interesting talking point for the guys online. And there's a talk that there might be someone else coming in. I thought it might have been Taurus from Mystic, but someone else might be coming in. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like you say, I was quite surprised by this, because normally they have either an Impact Plus event or a pay-per-view, and then they hold it over that weekend, don't they? So it was very strange that they hold it in the middle of the week. But the other piece of news was, and I think that a lot of people are getting slightly misled on this piece of news, because if you read what the article said, it says at least one talent who is not on the roster will be showing up. And there's a few people who are currently on the product who are not on the roster, like James Storm, Matt Cardona, even ODB's not on the roster. Black Taurus showed up today, and he has been put on the roster. So I think I mean even Shogun, who we're going to speak about in a bit, he's not on the roster. So I think that people may be sort of expecting things, and don't. I mean, it could be someone, but I think that there could be a few things that maybe we hope too high on this one.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are fantasy booking, because we've still got the buzz from Summerversary last year, with the EC3 coming back, Eric Young coming back last year, and even James Storm made an appearance. I think it was Bound for Glory. Everyone's still buzzing about all that, and to quote Eddie Edwards, anything is possible.
Definitely, yeah. But it's. I mean, Impact can be a little bit slow with updating their roster sometimes, but they've been pretty good lately.
Yeah, they've been on top of everything, and
I mean, Trey turned back within 3-4 hours. He was on the roster page.
Talking about Shogun. Shout out to Critical Sting for this. He made a couple of appearances on the last two explosions. First off, facing Shearer, and then facing Joe Doring. He took a hell of a beating in both the matches, and sadly lost both of them. Putting over Shearer and Joe Doring pretty well. But while I've not seen much of Shogun, I know you're probably a bit more familiar than I am, and this is what a talking point for everyone out there. Do you think he might be coming onto the roster, or what are your thoughts on him even showing up?
I certainly hope so. Both matches showed a different version of him. The one with Joe Doring, and both matches as well showcased Doring and Shearer as well, in both singles sort of versions of them, because we haven't seen much of Doring in singles competitors matches, and we haven't seen much of Shearer lately. But both looked good in the match. Shogun. When I first saw him, I'm trying to think when he won Gut Check. It was Was it a year ago or was it a couple of years ago?
It was, yeah. I think it might have been last year.
Yeah, I think it was last year. But yeah, he faced Tyler Turver in the final, and to be honest, I was rooting for Turver because I thought he looked more polished in the ring. But obviously, they liked the character that Shogun showed, and yeah, you can see why. He can tell a story based on his facial expressions.
Yeah, he can sell a lot of these big moves. You know, the match he had against Shearer, it was a lot more smash mouth, tit for tat, back and forth. But when he took on Joe Doran, the amount of big moves he took he sold it amazingly, and it just proved Joe Doran is a monster.
Yes.
And Matt Striker really summed up his career as well. The Triple Crown champion at least 2 or 3 times. If you know, if you haven't watched these 2 Explosion matches recently, guys, I do recommend checking them out because not just for Shogun, but like Steve said, Shearer and Joe Doring had an amazing showing, and we got to really see what these guys can do, especially Shearer. Everyone's been a bit critical of him in the past, including myself, but he's never really had the opportunity to mold and grow since he's come back in a heel role, and now I think he's on the right path.
Yeah, this was one of the best matches I'd seen Shearer in lately, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, when I heard, you know, over the last year, I wanted Shogun to sort of join the Decay because I thought he had that look. But now I want him to go on a singles run. Now I think he's got that character where he can just. I kind of want him to go on this Samoa Joe kind of undefeated streak. Sort of just go on kind of like a, how can I put it, like doesn't care who's in front of him, just sort of, he doesn't call for titles call for him.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, he's got that attitude. If you guys listen to him in the ring when he's against Shearer, he's just, you know, he's a hard hitting wrestler and he's a very good grappler. But again, he'll just take anyone that comes his way and just not really. He's not intimidated by many people.
No.
Again, thanks Critical Steam for bringing that up last week. It was a interesting topic to it, so I thought I'd return the favour for you mentioning it and cover that for you. Going on to events, and one more event that happened recently over the last week is Gianna Perazzo's partner Steve Cutler was let go from WWE. I'm not going to go into too much about this, guys, but I thought it was something worth mentioning. You know, Gianna Perazzo was pretty pissed off about it, understandably. And I've already said to Impact Wrestling, you know, you've given guys like Matt Cardona, you've given guys like Brian Myers a chance. So if Steve Cutler is interested in coming in, by all means bring him in and let's see what he can do. You know, we don't have to see him do like what Mike Bennett and Maria did and instantly go together, you know, and becoming the next power couple. You know, we could be more like Taya Valkyrie and Johnny Impact did, come in as a separate wrestler and really prove what he can do on his own. But whatever happens with Steve Cutler from WWE, honestly, it doesn't really interest me. I just want to see guys that get let go like that get a fair crack of the whip. Matt Cardona said it best. Guys who aren't getting treated right from WWE, they're looking at Impact Wrestling before anywhere else. So, what are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, I don't really know too much about Steve Cutler. I've heard the name, but I don't really know too much about him. One thing I will say on the side of being an Impact fan and seeing a lot of other talent come in is Impact need to be careful because they're having a lot of talent come in and talent who already exist there. They're struggling to find TV time for the talent who's already there, and they're having a lot of talent already come in and they only have a 2-hour show. So you're going to end up like AEW is getting, where they've got a lot of talent sitting around doing nothing. So they need to be careful with saying the door's open, come and have a try. And then eventually they're going to have a roster full of people where they're like, hang on a minute, we're getting like WWE now. We're signing everyone and we don't know what to do with you. So they need to be careful.
Yeah, Scott D'Amore and Don Callis had a plan when they come in. Is we'll give you guys a shot, and then if you want to go somewhere, you go somewhere. No, we've got no issues with that. So it's good that they bring them in even for 1 or 2 matches. Just because they're on there for 1 or 2 matches doesn't mean they're signed.
Yeah.
Blake Christian made a return recently, but we'll get onto him in a minute. Whether he's signed or not, we don't know. Killer Kelly, we don't know if she's officially signed. Or Renee Michelle, I'm hoping maybe we see them again sometime, even if it's just a one-off. But again, like you said, they got to balance the act of guys on the roster and bringing too many people in, because otherwise everyone's going to be trying to think of a polite way to put it.
You're going to keep your signed talent. You're going to make your signed talent unhappy if the unsigned talent is getting time over you.
Yeah, we got Falabar is one example. He seems to be pretty happy with all the backstage stuff, but I've not seen him wrestle this year, and I'm still itching to see Alicia Edwards finally do something in the ring, because I'm a big fan of her.
She's just come across as Eddie's wife over the last couple of years, hasn't she?
Yeah, when she's had the matches, they've been really entertaining, even the matches she's lost.
Yeah.
Like I said to Jason a few weeks ago, she's like Scrappy Doo. She'll just not back down from anybody, especially guys like Sami Callihan or Eric Young. And if you guys look back at Angelina Love and Davey Richards, the match they had, we saw Alicia Edwards at her best, and now I want to see that again.
They could really build her into the knockout version of Rockstar Spud.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good comparison. So, guys, let us know what you think. Do you think Alicia Edwards could be the next Rockstar Spud? As long as she doesn't lose her hair. That's right.
Yeah. We don't want that to happen.
Okay, that rounds up the news outside of Tuesday. We're going to briefly touch on some of the big talking points from Tuesday, because there was a lot of talking points. We'll start off with the Knockouts tag title situation. No match was announced for No Surrender, and after Tasha Steelz' unintentional or intentional disqualification to give Nevaeh the win, Scott D'Amore says, "You want to play like that? You want to be champions? You say you're the best? Well, we'll give you a tornado tag, Texas death match, Havoc and Nevaeh. No ifs, no buts, no referee screwing you over, as you claimed. This is it. Do it or die." I was so impressed with how Scott D'Amore just shot them all down, and he's great at putting people in their place. But what are your thoughts on this match?
Scott is great every time he's on screen. You know what's coming, because the setup is the same every time, but his delivery is just so perfect. You just find yourself laughing and enjoying it every single time. I love Scott. He's brilliant. Yeah. He really is. And even though the match hadn't been set up, I think we all knew that this is what was going to come. And I had no problem with it. I think it's because that's what most of us were expecting was coming.
Yeah, I was expecting the titles to be on the line. I wasn't expecting a tornado tag match, which we've not seen for ages.
No.
If it was going to be
I just thought it was a no DQ.
No, it's a tornado tag. Everyone's in the ring. We've not seen that since LAX and the Lucha Bros last faced off.
Okay.
So it's been a very long time since we've seen this style of match, and obviously no disqualification. So Brandon Tull can't screw Kiera Hogan over, because he didn't get his platinum pass for the Fire and Flavor Festival.
Yeah.
And
although they were talking about that, but to be honest, I thought that the end of this match was a bit of a botch to start with, because the timing of it looked like it was flat out in the referee's view.
Yeah.
But it was such a strange timing. But so for them to say, well, he screwed us, it's like, you done it right in the referee's view.
Yeah. Well, they're above everyone else. They're in a different league.
Oh, they are. They are. Yeah. Nothing is their fault. Nothing is their fault. Yeah.
Another big talking point for Tuesday was cousin Jake is now Jake something. We've finally got the direction that the Medinas are going to go in, and it's a pretty big shock for me. For a while, I've been meaning to do something about Medina as a side project. Some of you might know, some of you might not know. So this is a bit of a breaking news for you now. I wanted to find the right timeline to get it done, and now, come No Surrender, I've got a timeline. And but I didn't. I thought, part of me thought it was going to be like when Rich Swann joined OVE, just a brief like, yeah, I'm with you guys, and then it hit, attack then. But the way Cousin Jake delivered this promo, we got to see a different side of Cousin Jake. What are your thoughts on the match that they set up from this too? I'd like to know. We got Dina and Cousin Jake now in a proper grudge match, and if Jake loses, he is forced into Eric Young's cult.
Yeah, to me, I feel like this has kind of forced the outcome, because I don't see with this new character Jake joining. Yeah. I mean, he might, and it might be one of those kind of, how can you put it, like sort of, we've now got a slave who is going to do everything we want, even though he can't. But to me, it feels like you've then got a chained character who's now got a new path, and you're then going to chain him again.
Yeah,
and I don't see it. I don't see a way out of it.
Yeah,
but it could. But look, we finally got the Jake something moment. It gave it. I found it strange how he went straight for them from the front. I was expecting kind of like an AJ Aces and Eights moment, how he'd kind of say, "I'm with you," they'd turn around and then he'd get them from behind.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We'd like I said, Rich Swann and OVE. That's a bit more my time than AJ Styles and Aces and Eights guys. So bear with me if I'm a bit off my history. But I was expecting a blindside attack from behind. But again, Jake something, his character is no nonsense. I will take you on head on. From what I gathered just from that moment alone, and everyone's been calling for Jake something to come through. Everyone, and I think it's a good time now to move both Dina and Jake on, and they've done it in a really, really well thought out manner. Eric Young was there to develop talent, and that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, because I can't think, how long ago was it Rhino got taken out?
Yeah, Rhino got taken out. I think it was like a couple of weeks ago at least. So we've not seen him since, and hopefully if he comes back, he's back with Heath.
That's what I was thinking. Do you think we see Heath and Rhino back at the No Surrender?
It'll be No Surrender or probably Rebellion, given Heath's injury.
Because Rebellion's still quite a way away, isn't it?
Yeah, we might see Rhino again, like mid-February, March, and then Heath come down as the final guy to really bolster Jake something and Rhino while they finish off their rivalry with Eric Young and Violent by Design. But Jake something is going to be a solo superstar, guys. But as long as they finish the rivalry in a good manner, that's all that matters to me. And I'm sure it's what the fans want to do. And another bit of news from Tuesday. We mentioned, we saw Christian Blake making a return. He's coming back for no Surrender, and they had a preview of who's in the match in this. It was a very, very competitive match. Josh Alexander had a good showing. Chris Bay had an amazing showing, and Ace Austin, you'd expect him being the biggest star in the match. He took quite a few bumps, and you could see he was getting pissed off that he wasn't getting enough time in the ring, which is a good development there for him. But Blake Christian taking the, I think Blake Christian took the fall in the match, or
Trey submitted Blake.
So Trey's got the momentum going, and Trey got the most in the match in terms of TV time. So when we get onto the predictions, you might be surprised who I've actually got picked for the winner, but it does look like Trey is probably going to be the one, regardless of my prediction. So there's a slight spoiler who I'm not voting for.
Yeah, likewise here. I sort of had a kind of a bit of a lineup of like who would go forth like step by step. but how this match played out, I kind of altered it slightly.
Yeah.
But it was great to see Blake back. You know,
Yeah.
it's another, a bit like how Storm keeps like coming back step by step by step. This is another step in Blake's cap, you know, to make, you know, get that foot in the door.
Exactly. Another good thing was he isn't back as a heel character. He's still the face character he portrayed when he came in at Genesis, and we saw him then. Because, you know, you could see when he wasn't getting tagged, he was getting a bit frustrated that he wasn't getting his chance to win because people weren't taking him seriously. So when he tagged in, there was a confrontation between him and Ace Austin. But so it's good to see that if Blake Christian does win, or if Ace Austin wins, these two are going to come together at some point as well. So it's like when Aiden Prince and Ace Austin, when they faced off, and Ace Austin started his heel turn in Canada a few years ago. They certainly started off where Ace Austin was going, and then Ace Austin shot up from there. And I see the same happening with Blake Christian if he's on the roster. And it's also Trey's another one. He's back on the roster. He's going to come co-flying too. But I hope it doesn't hinder guys like Josh Alexander and Chris Bay or Willie Mack too much.
No, Mac's an interesting one for me. I wouldn't have put him in this match.
Oh yeah, is there anyone else you would have come? It wouldn't have been like someone else who appeared at Genesis.
Oh no, it's nothing to do with obviously. Oh, you know, it's just the fact that we last saw Mac getting sort of destroyed by Moose, and he just suddenly appears in the ring in this sort of six or eight?
It's an 8-man
eight-man match, and you think Mac could have been such a player in this Swan and Moose storyline to have such a big return and be a player in this Moose and Swan storyline, and suddenly he's just appearing in an 8-man X Division match. It felt like such a lackluster return after how Moose took him out.
Yeah, I get what you mean then, because Moose and Willie Mack had a big rivalry beforehand.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Willie Mack was the punching bag while Rich Swann was busy dealing with everybody else.
Yeah.
And now we've got Tommy Dreamer and Rich Swann, and Moose is probably going to be sending a message via Tommy Dreamer. So it makes Rich Swann's title run a bit more lackluster than it should be. But it'll make Moose's win even more satisfying, because then everyone can cheer that Tommy Dreamer's out of the picture, and I'm going to be gutted if that's the case. Speaking of Tommy Dreamer and Rich Swann, that's the next topic point I want to bring up for Tuesday. Their contract signing. That was a good promo. It was a good promo from Rich Swann, and Tommy Dreamer again giving his big passionate speeches about how he's got such respect for the locker room, such respect for the industry, going into a bit of history between him and Terry Funk, and which is nice to see. You know, Tommy Dreamer he's one of these guys that I really do like. I like because of the respect he shows for the industry and the respect he shows for everyone, regardless of what's happened. And people can complain about him giving the same promo over and over again as much as they like. It's respect, guys. You know, if you don't have respect for the industry, then you don't be in the industry. And then, but the way Moose tried to insert himself into this match, we know, or we hope, or we don't hope that Moose gets involved at No Surrender. I hope we get a clean match between Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer, because let's face it, as a birthday present, it doesn't get any better than a match with Rich Swann.
Well, I don't think Moose will get involved, because I mean, Scott threatened to suspend him indefinitely, didn't he? So it's pretty likely that Moose doesn't get involved.
Yeah, he might come out the ramp and sort of do like a sarcastic applause.
Yeah. Do the old, you know, stand on at the side and say, I haven't got involved in the match, but do the old kind of distract him. Moose said we'll do it on my time, and his time has come. To quote, not to quote Sue Young, so don't expect a big flashlight and all this stuff in the background now, guys. Yeah, it's funny how you mention Swann's promo, because anyone who says that, you know, Tommy doesn't offer anything anymore, just watch this promo.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could tell he meant every word he said. the honesty, the realism, and it just gives so much to the business. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, you carry on.
I'd be intrigued to see if this match is a normal match though, because Tommy does so many. Every match he does is a hardcore match, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we might see some weapons come out here and there, and the referee give a bit of leniency. But I don't see this as another old school rules match. I think it's going to be mostly in ring action, maybe a bit of weapons here and there. But Tommy Dreamer, he's wrestling this match, as he said, as a serious match. He's not taking it lightly, and he's never been TNA or Impact Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, which actually was a bit of a surprise to me. I thought he'd actually won a title, but it just shows Tommy Dreamer's work ethic as well. He's not there, like he said he's not there to win belts. He's not there for money. He's there because he loves the sport.
Yeah, and you believe him when he says that.
Yeah, it put a lump in my throat hearing him say that, and it does every time I watch one of his promos. He's got so much passion. He did get when he had last year with Tessa Blanchard, Eddie Edwards. They were going up against Ty Valkyrie and Nate Austin in that 6-man tag match. With I think Moose was in there as well, or Michael Elgin was in there as well. Tommy Dreamer, he's really good at setting up matches, just with his words. So guys, you can disrespect Tommy Dreamer's in-ring ability as much as you like. You can't take away from his input to the business. And we'll quickly round off on the events on Tuesday with a quite shocking finish to the World Tag Team match. We saw the Beer Guns, James Storm and Chris Sabin versus the Good Brothers. And what happened during the match was something I wasn't expecting. Matt Hardy comes down, he brings her Private Party with him, and they cause a disqualification. Now, I don't know what his thinking was behind this. So, what are your thoughts? What was his reason to go up against the tougher team?
What Private Party's thoughts?
Yeah. What was Matt Hardy? What was he thinking? Getting his boys to go.
I think his thoughts probably were a case of, we'll DQ them, and then the match will be null and void. That way, nothing will change.
Yeah.
But as soon as it happened, instantly, you're like, you know what's coming, don't you? The match will be made a 3-way. Has Hardy's been around the business long enough? You know what's going to happen.
Yeah, even Scott D'Amore said it. You know what's coming.
Yeah. Although I did like Hardy say, ban him from ringside.
Yeah. I was expecting a cage match, to be honest. When Scott D'Amore said, you know what, we can't have these two in the match now. They can't be running interference in your big match. So I was expecting a cage or something, something to really, really make things daunting for Private Party. And Matt Hardy's been in quite a few cage matches in his time, and he knows how seriously dangerous they can be. So
they do need to bring lockdown back, considering the situation everyone's in.
Yeah, but Matt Hardy's boys, the guys that are giving him all the money, he gets the 70% from their time on Impact and the 50-50 on AEW. If his boys can't guarantee a win in a big match, there's gonna be some problems there. But I love the way Matt Hardy's integrating with everybody on the roster. It's just great to see he's not lost his touch.
And it's kind of changed my thoughts on this tag team match now as well. I had a couple of ideas on what could have happened, and I'm not really sure anymore now.
What were you thinking? Just out of interest, see if the guys are listening.
Given what happened previously at Bash at the Beach on AEW, with the Good Brothers turning up and costing the Guns their chance, I think, in their battle royale, and then I had Private Party down to win this match anyway.
Yeah.
But I did wonder if the Guns may show up and cost the Good Brothers.
Oh yeah, I think that might have been the logic behind Private Party. I think Matt Hardy even mentioned it. It was like turning out his fair play. but I've not been watching AEW, guys, so obviously I'm a bit.
Yeah,
No,
let's say I had Private Party down to win the match anyway, but just watching it the other week, I thought, well, maybe the Guns show up and not necessarily do it for Private Party, but just do it to cost the Guns.
Yeah.
Just because they sort of cost them. And
they want the easy competition.
Yeah, and I thought, well, now that Storm and Saban are in, I get the feeling maybe they could have a chance of winning it. Hardy's kind of tried to get one up on it, to make it easier for himself, and actually he's now cost himself.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let us know your thoughts on this one, guys. Obviously we're going to go through the predictions on No Surrender Now. I nearly said Hard to Kill. We're going to go through the predictions on No Surrender Now, or the matches, and then give the predictions at the end. But again, drop us your comments at the end of this, and anyway, let's move on. The full card for No Surrender. I've got it in no particular order. So, Steve, if you want to run through the matches, we'll go through them.
Yeah, I assume we'll start off with the X Division number 1 contender match with Daivari, Suicide, Willie Mack, Ace Austin, Trey Miguel, Chris Bay, Josh Alexander, and Christian Blake.
Okay.
And then the Triple XL and Tennille Dashwood versus Decay, or the new Decay, should we say?
Yeah.
Then Fire and Flavor versus Havoc and Nevaeh for the Knockouts Tag Team titles. And then TJP versus Rohit with Shearer for the X Division title.
Okay.
Then we've got Dina versus Jake something now. And then Dina's obviously with the Violent by Design. And then Hernandez and Myers versus Eddie Edwards and Matt Cardona. And then we've got the Good Brothers versus Private Party and Storm and Saban for the Impact Tag Team titles. And then Swan versus Dreamer for the World title.
Yeah, what a card, guys.
I did
not. Yeah, coming tail end of last week, we had about 6 matches, 3 matches in one night. Kudos to Impact Wrestling for really, really putting the rabbit out of the hat and making changes to some of the other matches. We predicted Taurus coming back for Decay, and when he did, I was still shocked to see him.
Yeah, I will say though, reading out that list, again, one name missing from that list that I'm like, Sami Callihan again.
Yeah, but we saw Sami Callihan's interaction with Trey.
Yeah, he's interacting with people again, but he's still missing from the list, isn't he? He still doesn't have a match.
Yeah, but
he's interacting with people, but when you look at a card, you always feel like you want to see him on the list, don't you?
You see, it's the draw. We want the draw, but we'll probably see something with Trey and Sami Callihan develop afterwards. But let's start.
I feel, yeah.
Yeah. Let's start off with the X Division. Not the X Division. For the first match you mentioned, the
number 1 contender. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the name in my head. My mind's going a bit blank.
No, I knew what you meant. Yeah.
Okay, so what are your thoughts on the match in general? The setup.
The setup of it feels very old school, doesn't it? Like you used to get these sort of 6-way scrambles and sort of one in like Lucha Libre sort of style matches. Yeah. It feels very NWA TNA style match. I feel, considering we saw this 8-man match tonight, I'm intrigued in how excited I would be to see it Sunday. I would rather seen maybe like a one-on-one, and then maybe the other guys in the office, and then kind of set it up that way, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm never a big fan of seeing one week and then one on the pay-per-view and then one on the pay-per-view, one on the following night kind of thing. But yeah, it will be a great match. I'm still intrigued to see how it plays out because I'm still trying to get my head around how it will go.
Yeah,
I think.
Sorry, you carry on.
No, go on.
The format is it's a triple threat match, and whoever gets pinned gets eliminated from the match. And the next bit, it's like a triple threat battle royal.
Yeah.
And then when it comes down to the last three, they're the ones whoever gets the fall then is the number one contender for the X Division title. So, say if it comes down to Trey, Josh Alexander, and Ace Austin, if one of those guys gets the pin, they're the number one contender. And so they've got a hell of a lot of star power. And if this is the opening match, then the rest of the guys are in a hell of a lot of trouble to try and not do this match. This could be match of the night, match of the year.
Yeah. The order they come out in will be interesting.
Yeah, that's what Josh Alexander's one guy who I think is probably going to be out first, or Trey, and see it right through to the end, like the last three. But these are two guys I've got picked as. I didn't have Trey picked as a winner, but he's the one that I see most likely now.
You guys who to win it, have you?
The guy who I've got to win it is Josh Alexander or Ace Austin. But
that's very different to me.
Yeah, but the most obvious choice is most likely it's going to be Trey Miguel, given the showing he had this Tuesday. But I'm still backing Josh Alexander. He's the walking weapon. He's had such an amazing breakout since Ethan Page sadly gone, and he's there's so much potential with him as X Division champion. He could be the next Brian Cage. He could be the next Willie Mack, the next Kurt Angle. He is the next Kurt Angle. Look at the way he's
definitely, yeah.
We need big guys like that to again hold the title. Willie Mack did a good job. Brian Cage did an amazing job, regardless of what you guys think of Brian Cage. He went for the X Division title before going for the world title. He chose to go that path, which was very admirable of him.
Yeah.
So Josh Alexander, he's a Triple Crown contender. I've said it loads of times. So
yeah, definitely,
he's my pick.
Yeah, who's yours? I don't think Trey will win it because I think Callahan will cost him.
Yeah.
I think Callahan will cost him. Trey was in my top three to last till the end until that happened at the end with Callahan, and I think Callahan will cost him. I think the last three will be Alexander, Austin, and Blake, and I think Blake will get the pin on Austin as a callback to the Genesis match where Austin pinned Blake.
Oh, yes. That would be pretty interesting too. Because Ace Austin's still demanding he gets his title match. And then if Blake Christian pins Ace Austin, then that's Ace Austin's merit gone.
Well, he's still got the cup, hasn't he?
He's still got the cup, but if Ace Austin says he's the number one contender and then gets pinned, Scott Demore can then play backstage politics. You were number one contender, you lost the match, so it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
And it'll start off a good rivalry between Blake Christian and Ace Austin, which is something I do see coming in the future, especially if Blake Christian stays on.
Yeah. It's interesting because Blake reminds me a lot, especially when he done that promo with Eddie Edwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting match to start off with. We'll go on to the second match you talked about, which was Decay and Taurus versus Tennille Dashwood and Triple XL.
This is interesting because, like you say, Larry's just come back, so they've got a lot of sort of hype behind them. But then I'm going to go with Decay because I think Tennille's been put in there to take the pin.
Yeah, Tennille Dashwood, she's got that arrogant, cocky attitude, and Caleb with the K, I think he's actually not going to be at ringside.
Is he not?
I think he mentioned it that he wishes he could be out there with everybody, but he's not going to be at ringside. And I think Taurus made that loud and clear when he decimated him in his appearance this week.
He was really impressive. So, I've never seen Taurus before, Black Taurus before, but a lot of people have talked him up as being like fit for the Decay, and I've never seen him before. But yeah, man, does he look impressive and looks really, really fit for the Decay.
Yeah, he's made a lot of appearances when they've gone to Mexico because he's on AAA. He is huge. Yeah, Taurus. I think he's the perfect call out from the Hive for Rosemary and Crazy Steve. They needed a monster, and they got a Minotaur.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Decay for this too.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be really, really back and forth between everybody. I don't think it's going to be one-sided or lopsided. I think Tennille Dashwood is going to get a decent showing in this match, regardless of any shenanigans. I think she's starting to get a decent build now in every match she's in, and she's really starting to show she can do more than just pasta, or be someone or get someone else to carry the match for her. Like when she first came in, I was really underwhelmed, but she's won me over really quickly since
she turned heel and her and Caleb got together. She's been a lot better.
Yeah, there's been that attitude that I just didn't get the character when she first came in. It just seemed like a cheesy character. But now she's so impressive in winding everybody up, grinding everyone's gears. And AC Romero, I want to see how he fares up against Rosemary or Crazy Steve, because we saw his reaction the week beforehand. So is AC Romero going to hold his nerve? But is this going to be a good back and forth match? It's going to be a pretty interesting to see how Crazy Steve fares up, really, because
I'd be intrigued to see how their teamwork is, Black Taurus and Crazy Steve.
Yeah. And hopefully we might see another shout out to Abyss as well, a double choke slam from Rosemary and Crazy Steve. But it's an interesting match, and it's another one that I'm really looking forward to. So I want to know who you guys think. Do you think Decay have got this, or do you think that Triple XL are just going to dominate because they're just powerhouses, not because it's going to be a squash match? Although if one of those guys sits in you, you're going to get squashed. Okay, well, moving on to what was the third match you had down?
I've got TJP versus Rohit.
Yes, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Given their history, we know how back and forth they can go, and they've had some damn impressive matches together. My pick for this is Rohit.
I don't know, because I'm trying to look at the long picture of like who's in the title picture, like below them in the number one contender scene, and you've got obviously Austin with the Super X Cup, and that's why I thought they kept it on TJP Manic, because he was next in line to take it off him. But yeah, I assumed that Falabar is going to come in and equalize Shearer, so I'm going to say TJP.
Sorry, my mic just cut off a bit there. There's going to be something. Sorry, could you repeat that? My mic cut off. There's a bit of background noise.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say that TJP is gonna ask Falabar to come and equalise Shearer. So I'm gonna say TJP.
Yeah, that's an interesting angle, because we've not seen them guys work together for a while, and Falabar needs an angle. The only other thing I can see for Falabar is something with Johnny Swinger, and that's only going to be short-lived.
Yeah, and that angle, I'm getting a bit fed up with that angle.
I'm still going to go with Rohit for this, but in the long term, whoever comes out on top in the opening match, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes. Regardless who wins this X Division title match, it's a tricky one because they're so good together and they work together so well. It's going to be a really, really interesting match, and it's going to be just exciting. It's an exciting turn of events to see Shearer back, and that's a big shock for me to say. He'll be out there as the big intimidation factor. I don't see him getting involved too much physically, but it's just someone there to give Rohit that extra confidence boost that we know he has, but it's not been paying off for him as much. Is there anything else you want to add to that, or should we move on?
No, I say I don't think I can. Like I say, I'm getting to a point where I'm getting so confused with the X division.
Yeah.
I like it because I can't predict it, but trying to predict it when you need predictions is hard.
Yeah, then I suppose that's one of the things about No Limits. You know,
Yeah.
if you limit your imagination, then the X Division is not doing its job.
Mm.
So let us know what you think of that, guys. Is that a philosophical stance that you guys share? You know, do you want that unpredictability, or do you think we need a bit more stability and who goes what, and then there's a risk of that flatlining? So let us know what you guys think on that one. We'll move on to the next match you had down.
Next one I had down: Fire
Yeah,
and Flavor versus Havoc and Nevaeh.
that's gonna this match, this was set up just this week, so
Mm. Yeah.
it's gonna
Although I
be
think we saw it coming for quite a while, didn't we?
yeah, we saw it coming, but I did not expect it to be a hardcore match.
No, definitely
I was
not.
thinking to myself, at some point they are going to come head to head in some sort of hardcore no DQ match, but I wasn't expecting it so soon. But given Tasha Steelz and Kiera Hogan's attitude and how they've been, and the way this match ended on Tuesday, I think it's the right time now to give Nevaeh and Havoc that bit more of an advantage, because Nevaeh's win-loss record isn't as good as Havoc's or Tasha Steelz or Kiera Hogan at the moment.
No,
So it's good to
champions
give.
have been on a bit of a losing streak, haven't they? Really?
Yeah, so it's going to be good to give Nevaeh a bit more of a showing as well as on her own, because a lot of matches have been she's in there for a short amount of time and Havoc's doing all the legwork. Not to say Nevaeh's a slacker. Nevaeh's a fantastic competitor. She's not been given enough time. Okay, this is a pretty tricky one to call. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be pretty devastating, and it's going to be good to see how Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz hold up in a match like this, because I don't think we've seen them in any hardcore matches before, and Havoc and Nevaeh are veterans in hardcore matches, so it's going to be an interesting angle for Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz to work on too. It's just going to really intensify this rivalry a lot more.
Yeah, this is definitely in the wheelhouse of Havoc and Nevaeh, this match, isn't it?
Yeah.
But for me, that will just give so much more of a rub to Tasha and Kiera. If they can win this match, they'll kind of beat Havoc and Nevaeh at their own game if they can win it.
Yeah, is that who you're going for?
Yeah, and they haven't had the titles that long either, so
yeah,
I feel like they need to hold them for just that little bit longer. Havoc and Nevaeh will get the titles at some point. I think we all know that, but I feel like you need to keep them on Fire and Flavor for that little bit longer. And also, as I say, if they beat them at their own game, they'll get that little extra rub.
Yeah,
and they'll become even more unbearable.
yeah. I was thinking the same thing. You know, Havoc and Nevaeh are a fantastic tag team, and they will be the next champions regardless of the outcome sooner or later. I think Fire and Flavor are going to win this match, most likely knocking out Jessica Havoc and keeping her immobilized and probably pinning Nevaeh. But we'll see if my prediction for how the match ends is wrong or right or wrong. But I'm going to go with Fire and Flavor as well. I think, like you said, the Knockouts tag division is literally just restarted, and we need a solid platform to set the standard. And Fire and Flavor are that standard. And to have them have it for literally just over 3 weeks and then drop the titles, well, it's not setting a good example of how seriously everything's been taken with this. But I'm not playing down Impact Wrestling. That's just my thought. If they lose the title so soon, I think that it's going to go to Fire and Flavor myself as well.
Yeah.
Okay, should we move on to the next match?
Yeah. Dina versus Jake something.
This is going to be a good match.
This is going to be an absolute slobber knocker, isn't it?
Oh yes, this is going to be a slobber knocker. This is going to be very violent by design, full pun intended. And I've been waiting to see how the Dinas officially break apart now. You know, I'll be honest, I'm sad to see it happen.
Yes.
But it was going to happen at some point. You know, cousin Jake needed it a lot more than Cody, regardless of what Cody's not a nobody. Just remember that, guys. But cousin Jake has had, Jake something, which we should call him now, or I need to start calling him now.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of appearances on pay-per-views and a lot of appearances on the Impact Plus specials as a solo wrestler, and we've really got to see how good he is there. And now is the right time to break him apart with Eric Young doing all this. So they've built this split perfectly. You know, they went to Wrestle House. Everyone saw them as a joke. Johnny Bravo got shot. Cody Deaner was the one that took all the slack for it, and Jake just seemed to breeze by. So there was that tension between Cody and Jake building up for a very long time. And the way that they've managed to get Eric Young and Joe Doring to play into this story and bring back Cody's past, like Cody said, Eric Young was his best friend, and he's now looking over him like he's nothing. And the way they've managed to get this match together is it's just great storytelling, short term, long term, however you guys want to look at it, given Cody and Eric Young's past when Cody was in TNA. You know, they seem to get everything to come together perfectly at the right time with the majority of the talent on the roster, and this is a great example.
Yeah, so Dina or Cody is one of the most underrated wrestlers probably on the roster. You see him as his Dina character, and you think, he's just a goofball, kind of just goes around and doesn't really take it seriously, but he is a fantastic wrestler, and you're seeing it now because he's this more serious character. And yeah, like you say, I love the Dinas. I really did, and I understand why they got a little push here and there, but I understand why they never got a serious push, because I think if they were the tag team champions, other people probably couldn't take them that seriously as champions, probably.
Yeah.
But I always found the Dinas entertaining. I really did. And you're right, they did need this breakaway from each other to just get some air from each other, I think. And breaks from each other do you good. And you're seeing that now. You know, Dina has got this new character, and Jake Something is now evolving into what we see. But this match, Violent by Design is now starting to build, and is this loss going to come at the wrong time? And Jake Something, is this loss going to come at the wrong time? You know, all I can think of is a DQ for Dina. You know, he's just going to get to a point where he can't take Jake down, and either he's just going to do something like get a chair and do something, or he's going to get EY and Doring in, and they're going to come in or something.
Yeah, I how this match ends is still a bit of a mystery to me, you know. But this adds to the hype really more than anything. But to see these two really go at it against each other is going to be good for both of them, regardless of who wins. Although if Jake Something does lose this match, he is then slammed into the asylum that Eric Young has created, and he'll be forced to join Violent by Design. So obviously my pick to win is cousin Jake, as much as I love Cody Deaner. So if you're watching this, Deaner, this isn't any disrespect to you, this is just fate. And let's be honest, there is a sickness in pro wrestling, as you well know now, Mr. Deaner. Once Jake Something gets this win, you can still go to cleanse it.
Actually, if you get DQ'd though, that counts as a loss for the. Yeah. You could. That could be a quick hang on a minute. I wasn't thinking about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, everyone on Eric Young's team is mentally unstable.
Yeah.
So a disqualification, if it's not going to be a surprise, it's going to be that they're just so out of control. Eric Young needs to get them into his mindset more. So it's a great way to build Cody's character if he gets himself disqualified. But I see Jake somehow pulling off a pinfall, but then taking a massive beating down afterwards, and where it goes from there, we don't know. But it's an exciting match. Especially
is it too early to see Heath, do you think, or Rhino?
I think we might see Rhino, but I know I'm not sure how far Heath has recovered from his injury. But if we're going to see Heath, I would assume it would be the end of February or March, like I said earlier, possibly towards Rebellion, to then build up a big 6-man tag team match then. But Rhino, he was only taken out a couple of weeks ago with his leg broken, like it happened to Rich Swann. So he might come back soon too, and then it gives Jake something a bit more ground to even the odds a bit. But because when this is over between Dina and Jake, something the rivalry isn't over. So it's going to be an interesting talking point later as we go through the next couple of weeks of Impacted to see where this goes and just see how Impact's storytelling is so good.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next match.
Hernandez and Myers versus Edwards and Cardona.
This one I'm really excited for. How about you?
I am, but I'm confused as well. It feels like all 4 wrestlers just met at a crossroads and sort of said, "Shall we have a tag match?"
Yeah, Myers has been spreading his weight around since he's come in. Downplaying everybody from Crazy Steve. He's even started to provoke Eddie Edwards now. Saying you're going back to what Eli Drake was trying to do. Saying that Eddie Edwards, you were this great wrestler, and Sami Callihan, Eddie Edwards, you were this great wrestler at one point. What happened to you? Sami Callihan did it in a sarcastic tone more than anything else. Eli Drake tried to get Eddie Edwards back to the old Eddie Edwards, and it didn't work. Brian Myers is doing similar to what Sami Callihan did more than anything else, and they're just rubbing it in his face and using it to put himself over. And Eddie Edwards has just had enough of it. And Matt Cardona, he's always ready. He's always ready to help. He's always ready to step up, and that's exactly what he's doing. As for Hernandez, we got a bit more of why Hernandez is involved. He's there because he thought he was going to get Eddie Edwards, and that would be it. And now he wants his full payment in advance for this tag match from Brian Myers.
Sort of like Hitman Hernandez now, isn't it?
Yeah. So Hernandez is a mercenary, and
it's sort of like a nice kind of way to reintroduce him.
Yeah, it's great to keep Hernandez fresh because
I like Hernandez, I really do, and I'm kind of a bit disappointed we don't see more of him.
Yeah, but they've got to find a way to book him. They did a great job with Rhino with the arm wrestling.
Yes, I was disappointed that never went anywhere.
Yeah, it went to the money getting stolen by Tasha Steelz, and Johnny Bravo got shot for it. So Hernandez is like Alicia Edwards. He's good at interlinking other storylines and building up rivalries between other superstars when he's not in the ring. But when Hernandez is in the ring, you guys are in for a treat. If you've still not seen Hernandez wrestle a match, then you guys are in for an absolute showstopper of a match between these guys.
Oh yeah, definitely.
My prediction:
4 great wrestlers in there.
Yeah, 4 fantastic wrestlers. Matt Cardona's got a great chance to really show what he can do. And Eddie Edwards and Matt Cardona are obviously my choice to win this match. And how about yourself?
Yeah, likewise. I get the feeling you've got 2 wrestlers on one side who will watch each other's backs, and 2 wrestlers on another side who will half watch each other's backs, but at the other side, like, rather watch their own backs than each other's.
Yeah, Hernandez made that a bit more clearer this Tuesday. Yeah. He wants his money. He's only going to be wrestling for the money. If things aren't going to go his way, he's going to just walk away.
Yeah.
So we might see a bit of tension in the match, and that might set up the finish. But the in-ring action leading up to something like that is going to be very, very back and forth, and it's going to be very, very hard hitting.
Definitely.
It's going to be a good one, guys. So let us know your thoughts on everything, obviously, in the comments below. We'll move on to the next match.
This one's interesting. Got Deonna, Kimber, and Susan versus Jordan, Grace, and ODB.
Now, yeah, I love how this match was set up. Kimberly got the win over ODB this Tuesday, which was something that was a bit of a shock to me, to be honest. But
yes, yeah.
the way Kimberly got the win didn't go down well with Susan, rather than celebrating, because Jazz and Jordan Grace came out and stopped Susan and Deonna Purrazzo from interfering. After Kimberly wins the match, backstage, Susan is in a rant about how unprofessional the circumstances have been. This shouldn't have happened. That shouldn't have happened. Trust me, I am Susan. I'm going to get this sorted. So she goes to Scott D'Amore, and she gets this 6 knockout tag team match set up, and this is going to be a blast.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you said, I was expecting ODB to get the win and then possibly set up a ODB versus Deonna match, and a little disappointed we're not getting a knockouts title defense at No Surrender. But this match is gonna be a really, really good match. All 6 knockouts to a degree. Do we class Susan as a knockout?
She's a business knockout.
Yeah, business knockout. But this is going to be a really, really good match. And I think we're leading. I felt this for a while. I think we're leading to either Susan or Sue taking the belt from Deonna at some point. I think that's where this whole sort of story is going. Yeah.
James Mitchell did say that if you take away Sue Young, you have to pay the price. And they're already starting to regret bringing Susan or trying to get Susie back, because Susan's now making all the decisions for Deonna Purrazzo, basically, and the Age of the Virtuosa is becoming Susan's business plan. So I think we're going to see a breakdown between them at some point. Obviously, I think the winners of this match are going to be Jordan Grace, ODB, and Jazz. And in the future, I do think we're going to see ODB versus Deonna Purrazzo for the title, just as a big match for Deonna Purrazzo.
I don't know. I half think that Deonna, Kimber, and Susan will win, and I think Susan will get the pin, and this will be another step, as if to say, hang on a minute, she's getting better.
Yeah, and then Susan can then, of course, stamp her authority again. I'm the one who won the match. Trust me, I'm Susan. I won the match, and I pinned the champion, or I made the win. This puts me up the top now. So it's going to be an interesting match, and it's going to be great to see if Susan can get her jacket off fast enough to actually wrestle the match.
Kimber's going to be interesting to watch here, because she's the one in the middle.
Yeah, she's probably the most underrated one, because everyone sees Susan as Sue Young. Also.
She's fantastic in the match between ODB.
Yes. Kimberly, she's often overlooked, and
she is. Yeah.
She's a fantastic wrestler. She's at least 10 years on the indie scene before she comes to Impact Wrestling. So she's a very, very well-rounded wrestler, and very, very well experienced. And I hope we see a bit more back and forth between Kimberly and Deonna Purrazzo as the time goes on too. But I think Jordan Grace and Deonna Purrazzo are going to have a long-standing rivalry.
Definitely.
And that's something I was hoping we'd see with Taya Valkyrie and Jordan Grace as well. But unfortunately, that it ended a bit sooner than I expected, with Taya Valkyrie losing the week after we and Jason did the character profile on Taya Valkyrie. Which was a massive shock to me. But anyway, this is going to be an interesting match as well, guys. So again, let us know what you think on this one. Who do you think Susan is going to be the one who's going to upset the apple cart a bit more? Do you think? I think it might be a breakdown on their end, which will cost end the match. But I think I'm going to go with Jordan Grace and Jazz and ODB for the win.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
It could go either way, couldn't it?
Yeah. But is that the one? Who are you going for? You going for ODB as well, or?
I'll go for Deanna, Kimber, and Susan. I think, like I say, I think that Deanna and Kimber will probably have most of the match, but I think at the end Susan will probably have more offense and probably get the pin, and that'll shock Deanna and Kimber, and they'll be like, hang on a minute, she's maybe not on our side anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of where they can build on from this match. So it's not just a match slapped together for the sake of slapping a match together.
No,
It's something that Impact does really well. So again, if Susan wins, like we've just talked about, she's got a legitimate claim to be number one contender, and that can also be the price that Deanna Prazo had to pay for getting rid of Su Yung. So this is going to be a good one to keep an eye on, and we'll move on to the next match.
Yeah, got newly added. We've got the Good Brothers taking on Private Party, and now Storm versus Saban.
Yes. Now, oh God, where did we start with this match?
Yeah, I will say that until the last couple of weeks that have been built around the Swan versus Dreamer, I thought this could have been the main event.
Yeah, I think this is a main event in its own right, regardless of what slot it's on. For a co-main event, it's going to take a bit out of Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer, I think. So if anything, this probably should have main evented the night, but then that's downplaying the prestige of the world title. But my God, Scott D'Amore can pull some amazing stuff out when you least expect it.
Yeah.
You know, Matt Hardy's got karma coming back to bite him. You know, but this match is going to be brutal, and it will Private Party work with the Good Brothers to at least try and get it down to a one team on one team, or is it going to be all out chaos? We don't know. There's just so much talent in that ring. Private Party is so good. And the Good Brothers, that I've seen we've seen them a couple of their matches, but this match they had with Storm and Saban this week, they reminded me just how good they are, because I've often seen them and I've just not paid attention to it because it's always seemed a bit too samey for me. But then seeing them seeing them in the match after not seeing them wrestle for a couple of weeks just reminded me that I'm overlooking how good these guys actually are. I'm not taking them seriously as I should be. And I'm not saying that the Good Brothers are bad. I'm just saying I wasn't as impressed as I thought I would be when I saw them come in to take on the North and take on the Motor City Machine Guns. But James Storm coming in and really adding that fuel to the fire, while Alex Shelley can't be with us at the moment for other reasons we won't be going into. It's James Storm has added that extra kick to the Good Brothers, and it's working out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, Private Party were one of those teams because I started watching AEW when they first debuted, and Private Party were one of the few teams that stood out to me just because they had so much charisma and personality to them. Because most of the AEW teams wrestled in a similar style. AEW were one of the few teams that actually had personality. And I always thought, yeah, there's a team that can really stand out. So yeah, I've always thought Private Party had something. And the Good Brothers, I do agree with you. I always knew who they were, and like I say, I knew Doc from back when he debuted with the Aces and Eights. But when they debuted in Slammiversary, I thought their first few matches, they took a little while to click with me. But by Bound for Glory, I thought, yeah, I'm liking these guys. And they've always been solid promo-wise.
Promo-wise, they've been fantastic.
And this promo today, there was a lot of passion to it, and even the too sweet. Normally they're like too sweet, but this one it was like very, we're being serious. You could tell that they were focused, and I was like, these belts are ours, and it's like, if you take these belts away, then we don't care no more. These belts are part of us now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, this match tonight, Storm was on fire.
James Storm is just the way his athletic ability. He went over the ropes and managed to swing himself back in.
Yeah, skin the cat.
It's just incredible to see James Storm still going.
Yeah, he doesn't age, does he? We talk about Rhino.
Yeah.
Storm's one of those people. The older he gets, the better he gets.
Yeah. He just doesn't. Yeah. It's like you said, just like Rhino, he just doesn't seem to age. He does, and as the older he goes on, the better he goes on. But that's just experience coming into play, really.
Yeah, but I mean, I had to smile with the Scott D'Amore thing. Like we said about the.
Yeah, how he got Storm and Sabin into the match was brilliant. Really rubbing it into Matt Hardy. Yeah,
because as we said, what did he expect would happen? It's booking 101. You're going to interfere in a match, and it's what's going to happen. That team is legitimately going to be added to your match. He's been around the block enough.
Yeah. Turnabout's fair play. Turnabout's fair play, and I guess turnabout's fair play. Private Party tried to. They got screwed by the Good Brothers on AEW the week before. They tried to screw the Storm and Sabin to get the Good Brothers in there at No Surrender. So Scott D'Amore, he just made it go full circle.
Yeah. And I do like that they had the number one contender match a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and both teams in that match are now number one contender.
Yeah, it's just good storytelling. It
is.
It's more eyes on the product too. Because fans of TNA of old will be seeing Sabin and James Storm haven't been just brought in to be fodder. No, they're there again to be serious contenders and still put on good matches, which they always do. So, who's your pick to win this though? This is going to be a really difficult one.
Yeah, well, I had Private Party for a number of weeks now, winning this match, but Storm and Sabin being added has kind of changed that, because I can see them winning it. So I'm going as a last minute change with Storm and Sabin.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's weird how the Good Brothers are champions, and I'm not even giving them a second thought.
Yeah, I had the Good Brothers as my pick to win, generally because of the way things are going with Kenny Omega, and there's a chance that maybe he might turn up on No Surrender and run interference or do something there. But let's just say there's no shenanigans apart from Matt Hardy. Then I would go with James Storm and Chris Sabin. But realistically, like with the opening X Division match, where it's most likely like Trey's going to win this one. Most likely, the ones who are going to win are the Good Brothers. But I'm going to go just to I'm going to go with Storm and Sabin as well, just to add that extra fuel to the fire, and give the Good Brothers. It'll give the Good Brothers a bit more merit if they actually lose these titles, because then they can say we haven't been taking this seriously. Don Callis can give them a really big kick out the ass to get the titles back, and Matt Hardy can really build Private Party on it a lot more too. So this is going to be an interesting match.
I mean, I don't know the timeline, but does Alex Shelley return?
At the moment, what he's dealing with is a medical issue with somebody else pretty close to him. So when Alex Shelley's back is in the hands of the gods at the moment. Really, it's not. So it's going to be Storm and Sabin until Alex Shelley is ready to come back in his own time.
Yeah. Because like I say, we've just had these tapings. I didn't know if he'd be around for like a one-off, just to kind of maybe make an appearance to maybe neutralize Matt Hardy.
Yeah, that would be something that maybe it would be a good thing to see happen, or maybe someone else who's worked with James Storm in the past.
Well, yeah, it wouldn't be
Chris
Bobby
Harris.
Roode. It wouldn't be Bobby Roode, would it?
No, but yeah, if it was Bobby Roode, then Vince McMahon would be tearing what's left of his hair out.
Well, yeah. Chris Harris was meant to make an appearance for that TNA one night only, weren't he?
Yeah.
He appeared in the crowd, didn't he? For a few shows.
Yeah.
That was meant to happen, wasn't it? So yeah, that would be cool.
It's just a thought that crossed my mind, to be honest. It wasn't something I so. I was just thinking about them. America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris, and I think it was Chris Harris and James Storm, wasn't it? Yeah, so it would be good to see, like you said, someone needs to give the Good Brothers a slap across the face, and someone needs to be an equalizer to shut Matt Hardy up for James Storm and Savin. So if Chris Harris comes in, or if Alex Shelley comes back for a couple of nights, that would be interesting to see where that goes too. So let us know, guys. Do you guys think Chris Harris might be this superstar that is supposedly coming back with this next set of tapings? Yeah, we'll be finding that out next week or the week after. All the tapings will be finished by the 13th, so another couple of weeks' time we'll be seeing what's happened then. But something to keep everyone guessing and humming and hawing and adding that fuel to the anticipation, which is what we want to see from a wrestling promotion. And then we've just
got the main event, which is Swan and Dreamer.
Yeah. So Tommy Dreamer's given this big good promo saying why he's agreeing to the match. He's not doing it for glory. He's doing it because he wants to prove he still got it. He wants to entertain the fans. He's not doing it for the money. He's not even doing it for the sake of having a bit for being champion. He's doing it because he loves the sport. Now, I see this being a lot more back and forth than people think it's going to be. Rich Swann is someone that can fly. He can take a hell of a beating in the ring, and Tommy Dreamer can take a hell of a beating regardless of how beat up he is. Matt Stryker alluded to some of the medical issues Tommy Dreamer's had in the past with his legs and stuff and his back. But, Tommy Dreamer can still go. He can still run. He can still fly if he needs to. Maybe not like super high flyer, but he never was a super high flyer. He was an old school brawler. Yeah, but Tommy Dreamer can still do it all. And this is going to be a good match, regardless of everyone's thoughts on Tommy Dreamer. And obviously, I don't see Tommy Dreamer getting the win. I see Rich Swann getting the pinfall and it building up to Moose and Rich Swann. Then obviously later on in the year, because Moose is going to be the next person to be world champion. But it's going to be a nice match to close the night on. It's going to be a feel-good moment match, regardless of who wins as well. So we had that with Jordan Grace and Jazz at Genesis. If this is a recurring theme, even for a couple of months for 2021, to have that feel-good moment at some point, that's nice. It's a nice bit of change in direction. It's just something to brighten up a gloomy 2020 2021.
Yeah, I mean, Dreamer flat out said, didn't he, that that Rich doesn't have any holes in his offense, but he does in his defense, and he'll be coming for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think, yeah. So like you say, it's not going to be as one-sided as I think people think it will be.
It's going to be a good match, guys. It's just a shame that there was so much to talk about beforehand. There's not enough to talk about now because we are coming pretty close to running out of time. So again, leave us your thoughts on any other matches we talked about. Leave us your thoughts on any of the previous events from the Shogun's appearances on Explosion. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on that. What you think of Taurus being the new member of Decay? Do you think it's going to last? Do you think it's just a short-term thing? And on that note, thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Next week, the Bison will be back. Touch wood. And we'll see you then. This has been the Joker, and that has been Steve.
Yeah, take care.
And let us know where we can find you, Steve, before we finish.
You can just find me over on James D. Steve over on the Twitter, where everything will be wrestling Impact related.
And you can find me on Twitter at JOK Empty Space. Jump onto Facebook, look for Empty Space, The Void, maybe even a Daily Giggle. You'll find me somewhere along there. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. You can find out most of my wrestling thoughts and opinions there. And on that note, don't forget to smash the bell, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to everybody at TNI for everything as well. And with that note, we say goodbye for now, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.
Take care.